All right, let's talk about a story that's just wild. It's about how one tiny, almost invisible change in a single molecule completely changed the game for millions of people with diabetes. This is the story of insulin Lispro.
Seriously, just imagine this for a second. What if, to take your life-saving medicine, you had to accurately guess what you were going to eat 45 minutes from now? For decades, that was the reality for people on insulin. It was this constant, stressful, high-stakes guessing game every single day.
So before 1996, the go-to treatment was regular human insulin. And look, it was a miracle drug for its time, no question. But it had this one huge problem. Its timing was totally out of sync with how our bodies actually work. This timing mismatch just created a whole cascade of issues. First off, you had to inject it 30 to 45 minutes before you even thought about eating. Then its peak strength, when it was working hardest, didn't hit until long after the sugar from your food was already in your system. And to top it all off, it would just hang around for 6 to 8 hours, which created this very real danger of your blood sugar crashing hours later. It was inconvenient and honestly pretty scary.
So scientists knew there had to be a better way. They needed an insulin that could work as fast as a healthy pancreas does when you eat. And the solution they came up with? Well, it was this incredibly clever piece of bioengineering called Insulin Lispro.
So here's the crucial thing to understand. Insulin Lispro isn't some brand new, from-scratch molecule. It's what we call an analog, basically a slightly tweaked version of human insulin. And the name, Lispro, actually gives the whole secret away. It comes from the two amino acids they swapped, lysine and proline.
Okay, so this is where the magic happens. In regular insulin, the amino acid sequence is proline, then lysine. This structure makes the molecules act like tiny magnets after they're injected, clumping together into these big groups of 6 called hexamers. And your body can't use the insulin until those clumps slowly break apart. So what did scientists do? They just flipped them to lysine-proline. This simple switch stops the molecules from clumping up. They stay single and ready to be absorbed almost instantly. It's such a tiny change for such a massive effect.
And this simple molecular flip translates into a completely different performance in the body. It means Insulin Lispro acts exactly the way you'd want a mealtime insulin to. It gets to work super fast, and then it gets out of the way when the job is done. 15 minutes, that's it. That's how fast Lispro starts working on your blood sugar. That whole 30 to 45-minute waiting game, gone. You can take your shot right as you're sitting down to eat or even just after. Total game changer. Then, it hits its peak power right between 30 and 90 minutes later. And when does that happen to be? Right when your blood sugar is rising from the food you just ate. It's a perfect match, a direct response. And just as important, it's pretty much gone within 2 to 5 hours. So by the time your meal is digested, the insulin has done its job and left the building. This dramatically cuts down that risk of a delayed, dangerous low blood sugar hours later. This timeline really just lays it all out, doesn't it? Super fast onset, a peak that perfectly covers the meal, and then a quick exit. It's just a much, much closer copy of what a healthy pancreas does naturally.
So, okay, that's the cool science. But how does it actually translate into managing diabetes every day for people with both type 1 and type 2? Well, it opened the door for a much more flexible and precise way of doing things.
It really became the heart of what's called the basal bolus method. Think of it like this. You use a long-acting or basal insulin to give you a steady background trickle of insulin all day long. Then, whenever you eat, you take a bolus or a specific dose of Insulin Lispro to cover the carbs in that meal. It's all about giving your body what it needs, exactly when it needs it. And because it's so quick and predictable, it was perfect for modern technology. You'll find it in easy-to-use insulin pens, and it's also the go-to insulin for pumps, which can deliver tiny, super precise doses around the clock. Of course, we're talking about a really powerful medication here, so it's not without its risks, and it's really important to get the full picture.
The number one risk with any insulin is always hypoglycemia. That's low blood sugar. And because Lispro is so fast, you have to be most careful right after a meal. Other things to watch for are skin changes if you don't rotate your injection sites, potential weight gain, which can happen with any insulin, and in some cases, it can affect your potassium levels.
This chart really helps put it all into perspective. You can see how these different insulins are like different tools in a toolbox. Lispro is your fast-acting hammer for meals. It's totally different from the old, slower regular insulin. And it's the perfect partner for a long-acting insulin like glargine, which provides that steady, all-day background support.
Two different tools for two very different jobs.
So when you put all the pieces together, you see that Insulin Lispro wasn't just a small improvement. No way. It was a fundamental shift. It completely changed the standard of care for diabetes.
I mean, this quote really just says it all, doesn't it? Lispro became a cornerstone of modern therapy. It gave people more freedom, way better control, and as a result, a massive boost in their quality of life.
And that's really the legacy, right there. What did that tiny molecular switch actually mean for people? More freedom to live spontaneously, less rigid, stressful planning around every single meal, and the confidence that comes from having better, safer control. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If just flipping two tiny amino acids could have such a profound impact on millions of lives, what other breakthroughs are out there hiding in plain sight? What's the next tiny switch that's just waiting for someone to find it?